give a kind of lackadaisical approach. Do you see this operational in our client like this?
Volunteering in Africa is as old as Africa itself. It has been in existence since the days of our father. Those days, you will recall that there's this idea of going to help people in the farm. You go to I help you. Then when it's my turn, you help me. Then people come together to carry out community development service to make sure that they clean up their community. People come together to fight war, to protect their land, and to train. To come up with various initiatives that contribute to development of their community. So volunteerism is not strange, it's not alien to our land. And what we are doing currently is to build that consciousness, to promote that consciousness. And one of the things we've been putting in place, especially in Ondo State here, is that Ondo State governor is institutionalizing volunteerism. One of the challenges we notice in volunteerism is that there's no commendation, there's no motivation, there's no reward. When I say reward, it doesn't mean giving people money, it's not about giving out cash, but it's about, acknowledging their contribution and at the same time commending them for what they've been doing, and also, sensitizing, motivating, enlightening them on processes and activities of volunteerism. And that's why Ondo State government is working towards introducing volunteerism into our primary, secondary school, so that we'll build the consciousness in our students at the early stage. And of course, one of the initiatives put in place in order to to promote volunteerism in Ondo State is Mr. Governor appointing me as the Senior Special Assistant on Volunteer Service to bring up programs, initiatives that promote volunteerism in Ondo State. And of course, by the special grace of God, on December 5, this coming Friday, we'll be having our International Volunteer Day celebration, organized and put in place by His Excellency Dr. Lucky Horimison Ayedatiwa, to celebrate volunteers across Ondo State, to celebrate their selflessness, motivate them, and also have a keynote speaker that will also be motivating us and enlightening us on how we can do volunteerism better in Ondo State.
Okay, then you look at this idea of the trust behind the volunteerism, because oftentimes just see people, they get engaged in volunteering services on the premise of not having what to do, not out of conviction. How well has the results from the volunteering activities, how well has been the results what parameter have you put in place to really ascertain that the result from the activities are genuine?
Thank you. Well, volunteerism is selflessness. So nobody is forced to go into volunteerism. What the government is doing is to motivate and sensitize people. To bring up the consciousness of volunteerism. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, that volunteerism has to do with a spirit of collectivism. Seeing governance and development from the point of both citizens and government. Many people believe governance is about leaders that are in position, which is not. We need to understand that governance has to do with the people. When we talk about democracy, you say people, the people. Then what are the roles people are expected to play in governance? The citizens' participation in governance. For instance, as a citizen, there are roles, there are things you can do without necessarily waiting for government to do for you. If I'm going, one of the obligations of a citizen is to protect government, protect properties, government property. If you didn't call on police wouldn't know that someone is destroying government property somewhere. If you did call on police or inform them, give them the necessary information, you wouldn't know that there's a security threat somewhere. These are part of, obligations of citizens. And at the same time, there are roles of maybe coming up to clean our environment. You don't wait for government to do that. Of course, government are playing their own role, and they make sure that they put in place the necessary infrastructure and other equipments. I mean, necessary provision to make sure that works out. But then, as citizens, volunteerism is playing our own role as a citizen to contribute to development of our society and to promote good governance.
Okay. Thank you so much for that elaborate explanation. And listener, if you're just joining us to your program Political Hangout on Glow 99.1 FM, and we'll be having in the studio Honorable Adeolu Iwakun, and this is here seated highlighting on what volunteering means and specifically as it affects Ondo State. And so, how can young people be encouraged to see volunteering as part of their civic responsibilities?
Thank you. Currently, the Ondo State government is working on prioritizing volunteers in the course of recruiting or in course of recruitment, and we're also introducing that to even private organizations. That and this is done in all over the world in other countries. And that's a way of promoting volunteerism. When someone has this volunteering certificate, so if you are to employ 10 staffs and 3 or 4 of them has a volunteering certificate, you should give them preference because they be doing things out of selflessness before. So the Ondo State government is working towards policies that promote volunteerism and reward volunteerism. So considering people in the course of employment, is a means of rewarding volunteerism. Is a means of and at the same time we'll also be celebrating volunteers. Like I mentioned earlier, that on December 5, which is a coming Friday, we'll be having an International Volunteer Day celebration. So that day we are going to be celebrating exceptional individuals, old, young, individual and organizations that have devoted their time, energy and resources to promoting development in Ondo State. And of course, volunteerism is not limited to individual working, carrying out community development services alone. We have donors. We have people that will say, this community needs a health center. The health center here is not serving them enough. Okay, let me do that. I have the capacity to do this. And there are people who come up with empowerment initiatives in the society. We have a lot of volunteer involving organizations across the Ondo State. There are many that are doing fantastically well. They've been coming up with a lot of empowerment programs, donating things like computers, sewing machine, and a lot of equipment that can help people skill in Ondo State here. So we are going to be celebrating them too. So government is willing to celebrate the effort of these selfless individuals and organizations in order to encourage them to do more, and also to let other people know that the government is watching and they really appreciate what they are doing. So Mr. Governor wants Ondo State people to know that volunteerism is being recognized by Ondo State government and is appreciative of the effort of people who have been contributing on their own to development of Ondo State, and to encourage other people to continue to do more. And permit me to also let you know that this is the first time that Ondo State government will be institutionalizing volunteerism. So it is Governor Ayedatiwa that established the volunteer office and decided that he wishes to celebrate and encourage volunteers in Ondo State. And one of our responsibility too is to come up with policies that promote volunteerism and implement federal government policy on volunteerism. I am also the state coordinator of Nigerian National Volunteer Service. So we are to implement the policies of federal government through the Nigerian National Volunteer Service in Ondo State here. So once again, the governor is seriously working towards rewarding people who have been carrying out selfless services, both individuals and organizations in Ondo State.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that beautiful position. Then you just mentioned, well, I almost asked you that this is, maybe let's still put it in form of a question. Is the activities of volunteerism or volunteers really, is it such that is regulated in Nigeria? Is it into law?
Yes, we have a federal government policy on volunteerism. You see, the vision and mandate of the vision of federal government and the state government is to create a system where volunteerism work.
Okay.
And of course, all over the world, we have volunteers all over the world, in every community, in every society. But the government, there's a need for government to identify with these volunteers, coordinate their activities. Regulate their activities so that it will be in line with other policies of the state. It will be in line with the law of the state, and at the same time, comment and celebrate their activities. When you are, for instance, Glow FM decide to maybe to support 1,000 widows, and nobody is seeing you, nobody is even appreciating you, the government is not even saying anything about it. You may not, yes, it's out of selflessness, but you might not be that encouraged.
Okay.
But by the time government says, "Oh, thank you for this that you are doing," you are helping the people, you'll be willing to do more.
Okay.
So that is the concept of government coming to regulate and oversee the affairs of volunteerism. And of course, we have in the Ondo State Volunteer Service, we have a space for citizens who are willing to volunteer. And of course, let me tell you, there are people who are willing to contribute. We have retirees. When we say volunteers, people often cast their mind to youth.
Yeah.
Volunteerism is not about youth.
Okay.
So for those who doesn't know, let me state that clearly. Volunteerism is wide. So it has to do with whether old, young, whether you are a worker, you are a political office holder. We preach volunteerism to public office holders. Whether you are appointee, there are things you can do on your own to contribute to development of society. Whether you are a civil servant, there are things you can do to contribute to development of your society. So whether you are a citizen, you work in private organization, we have companies that every day during their morning devotion, they sensitize their workers to prioritize and promote and go into volunteerism. Tell them to do whatever little thing they can do to contribute to community development. That's volunteerism. So we are making sure that volunteerism, is something that people see as a means of contributing to development of their society. And like I mentioned earlier, some months ago, we launched our portal, the Ondo State Volunteer Service portal, and we have thousands of people in Ondo State, across Ondo State, that showed interest to volunteer. And let me tell you that the applicants were not just youth. No, we have a lot of old people, workers, people who are civil servants, those working in the banks, working in the private sector, who showed interest that, yes, I have experience in this area. Whenever you are carrying out this program, please, I want to volunteer.
Okay.
There are people that tell us, yes, I have skills, I'm a professional in this area. We have health workers, we have medical doctors who have showed interest to volunteer whenever we're having any health outreach, or probably there's a need for, a health support, maybe in a particular hospital, that we should call on them, that they will go and volunteer to do that there. So that's the idea of volunteerism.
Okay.
So there are a lot of people who have been looking for opportunity to volunteer. So at the same time, we also connect individuals who are willing to volunteer to various organizations of their choice. If you are, for instance, you have passion to work to volunteer with maybe Glow FM, for instance. If you approach the volunteer office, we'll connect you with Glow FM. That Glow FM, we have someone who is willing to volunteer. So please kindly accept this person to contribute his or her quota or knowledge
Okay.
to development of your organization.
Then, how is there any scheme that is in place to guarantee the reputation of these volunteers? Because the honor is on the office to guarantee whosoever that is being posited for volunteering service.
Yes, that's part of our responsibility, and that's what the government is working towards. Like I told you, we are working and we are to implement federal government policy on volunteerism, which has a lot of guidelines for volunteering. So I mean, whenever any volunteer has issues with any organization they are volunteering with, it is the responsibility of the volunteer office to come in and make sure they resolve the issue. And at the same time, volunteering is meant to count as a working experience. If you are volunteering, by the time you are applying for a job, it must count as your working experience. So if there's any organization that fail to acknowledge that, it is the responsibility of the volunteer office to make sure that they resolve that and make that organization absorb that. And whenever any volunteer is facing any issue, any form of distress or whatever in any organization they are volunteering with, they are meant to reach out to the volunteer office to come in and resolve that for them.
Okay, good. I would love to ask, is there any collaboration between the volunteering office and is there an international collaboration to guarantee expansion and more equitable service delivery?
That is our job.
Okay.
That's what we do on daily basis. Like I mentioned earlier, that volunteerism is wide. So what we do on daily basis is to make sure that we reach out to as many as possible organizations that are into volunteering and make sure that our people partake. I mean, for those who are interested in partaking, and to also bring down whatever opportunity in volunteering to Ondo State volunteers, so that they can also partake and benefit in whatever volunteer programs or activities going on all over the world.
Okay.
And be rest assured that the governor is ready to do anything positive, to give any support to make sure that Ondo State volunteers enjoy whatever opportunity they are supposed to enjoy, and also partake in whatever program or initiative or volunteer initiative going on all over the world.
Okay. Then the reception, how well have you been able to get good reception from these international agencies?
They are really doing well.
Okay.
And they are open to partnership and support. So, and of course, like I mentioned earlier, that we'll be having our International Volunteer Day celebration.
Okay.
This is part of the ways. This is an area where other organizations have shown interest to come in. As we speak, we are still receiving requests for partnership from various organizations. And of course, the program is principally initiated and sponsored by the Ondo State Governor, Governor Dr. Lucky Orimiso Ayedatiwa, to celebrate volunteers across Ondo State.
Okay. And to this one, how do you regulate the activities, your activities with the international agency, so that eventually having the volunteers on board will not lead to brain drain?
There's always a kind of memorandum of understanding.
Okay.
So we don't just go into partnership. We agree. I mean, we fetch a grant of understanding first. So, and we follow our agreement. So,
Okay.
and of course, be rest assured that volunteering, as far as the Ondo State Volunteer Service is concerned, is not going to be of disadvantage to volunteers.
Okay. And to the nation at large.
And to the nation at large.
Okay. Then I want to ask, what challenges do volunteers often face in governance-related activities? Because, like I said earlier, that this is almost new to our society. There could be some bottleneck as a result of their going about their activities.
Well, first I would say recognition. Most volunteers are often seen as jobless people. People see them as nobody. But the fact is, among these volunteers, we have multi-millionaires, people who are fulfilled successful professionals who are just willing to contribute their quota to development of society. For instance, you see a medical doctor, a successful one for that matter, come out to assist in controlling traffic. You know, when you know, and probably the person is putting on a volunteer jacket to a normal person going around. The person might feel like, oh, this person doesn't have a job, like this person is jobless. He or she doesn't know what to do. That's why he's doing this. I think was it not on Monday or Tuesday? One of my staff was passing, and he just called me and said, he said around that Obaile, maybe there was an issue, a traffic issue, maybe, or probably maybe a trailer fell or spilled oil on the floor. So he said, I just saw proprietress of Mommy's Place controlling traffic here. You understand? What I'm trying to say is that, you know, that's act of volunteerism. But for ordinary person that doesn't know her or recognize her, they might feel like, what's this person doing here? Or this person is jobless. So that's the first challenge. Then secondly, I mean, there is no motivation. The volunteers are not being motivated. I mean, in fact, in the societies, sometimes people don't even regard them. They don't give them the appropriate recognition. And that's why for the first time in history of Ondo State, we are going to be celebrating volunteers across Ondo State. The governor is going to be celebrating them on December 5, and to also to acknowledge their contributions and also inspire them to do more. So, and thirdly, I will also say the aspect of volunteer experience not being counted as a working experience, and these are areas we'll be working on in the volunteer office.
Okay.
So, by the special grace of God, more progress will be recorded, and more initiatives will be introduced in the volunteer office.
Okay. Yes, listeners, you're joining us. It's your program Political Hangout on Glo 99.1 FM Ijapo Akure, and we'll be having our guest, Honorable Adeolu Iwakun. He's our guest. He's been highlighting issues that involves volunteering in Ondo State, and as mentioned, the programs that is in place already to make sure that people are celebrated, and they has equally mentioned that these are noble people involved in volunteering service, and it is widely recognized. So to tell you that if you are part of the system, your effort is commended, and if you are here to come on board, please, it's a noble responsibility that you must try to undertake. And I'll be back after this musical. Listeners, you are welcome back and still your program Political Hangout on Glow 99.1 FM. And at this junction, we want to throw the studio line open as a way of getting your observation and remarks, and definitely to make sure that you can be part of the program. If you want to do, please kindly call in through the studio line. It's 08055511110. Again, it's 08055511110, or you call 07066771822. You can join the issue with us, and if you want to know more about the issue of volunteering in Ondo State, our guest is already seated to answer, to put answer to your questions or perhaps any observation or remark. And what we still go ahead, sir, is this issue of how can government, civil society organization support and protect volunteers?
Thank you so much. That is what we've been doing. So, in fact, the first meeting I held immediately I got appointed was with the civil society organizations. So there is something I used to say. That thing is that in volunteerism, we have just one mandate to cover, and that mandate is service to the people. So whether we have a lot of organizations, volunteer involving organizations, whether the faith-based organizations, whether the uniform organization, the civil society, our focus and mandate is to serve our people. To contribute to carry out community development services. So I think the mandate of volunteerism, the mandate is same, and what we'll be doing is to protect the interest of citizens, from the volunteer office, and align with the necessary stakeholders to make sure that, in the course of rolling out policies and the guidelines of volunteering in the state, it is in line with things that favors and serve the interest of the citizens.
Okay, good. Then is this definitely volunteering has to do with having a good sense of altruism. How well are you cultivating or inculcating this into the sensibility of the people?
One of it is what we just mentioned. The program will be having. We're going to have people that will be speaking to the mind of our volunteers to, enlighten them more on what volunteerism is. And of course, from the volunteer office, we'll be carrying out what we call stakeholders engagement. So we'll be inviting volunteers and volunteer involving organizations to have interactive session with them, discuss areas of challenge, and tell them the opportunities and the benefits of volunteerism to development of our society. So, and of course, we are still going to carry out series of conferences and engagement, summits and training programs for our volunteers, so that they will get more conscious and understand the activities of volunteerism than they do presently.
Then one thing I've observed in our society is that oftentimes the moment people retired, they are considered as being tired. And sometimes, these people are still very energetic, still full of vast experience that will have been useful to the development of the society. How well can retiree be inculcated into the volunteering scheme as a nation?
They are part of us. We have a lot of retirees in the volunteer service.
Okay.
So a lot of them have shown the interest, and of course they are part of the volunteering scheme of the state government. We in volunteer service, we believe in the knowledge and the professional skill of retirees. That they retire doesn't mean they are tired. So, and volunteerism is not necessarily a full-time activity. So when you have chance, you can come around to render your service in whichever way you want it, and you can also discuss with us how you want to be rendering your services. I mean, how you want to go about it. So at the same time, sometimes we do have this negotiation of, okay, I will only be coming around on so time or around so time to carry out this kind of program or activity for development. So retirees are part of our program.
Okay.
They are not left out.
I discovered in our society, oftentimes, old age is almost considered as a cause. Because sometimes they are abandoned, they are left on their own, they are not being catered for. Is there this, how can the old people be considered for kind of a patronage in this regard?
If you're talking about patronage, maybe you are talking about them being part of the volunteer service, and at the same time, maybe you are talking about being catered for. Yeah. So I will speak on the two. Okay. We have programs that has to do with catering for the old people, and of course, this is in partnership with some international and national organizations. So, and very soon, we are going to be rolling out our programs, and in Ondo State, the governor prioritize the welfare of Ondo State people, and the old people are not left out. And of course, at various government at various level of different government agencies, maybe on the level of government, both local government and different ministries. I mean, Ministry of Women and Social Development and all of that. They've been doing a lot of programs to cater for the old people. And in the volunteer office, we have the responsibility to complement governance in all sectors. So we are working on an initiative that cater for the old people, and of course, very soon we are going to roll it out.
Okay. And listeners, we are just joining us, or perhaps still want to make your observation, remarks of, or you as a way of question. The studio line still remains open. 08055511110. You call 07066771822. You can just make observation for this being a very beautiful and new initiative in the state. Perhaps you want to look for a way of being enlisted. I guess is still very much in the studio with us. Then I want to ask, this concept being a very new initiative, how well has been the reception?
Like I mentioned earlier, that some months ago we launched a registration portal, and of course thousands of Ondo State people has registered. Okay. And as I speak with you, people are still registering. So a lot of people are willing to volunteer, and of course we give opportunity for people to volunteer in various areas of their choice, wherever they think they can be useful, I mean functional, and be productive.
But don't you think that such a reception is not being generated by the mass unemployment in our society, rather than conviction on the part of these individuals?
60% of our volunteers are, those who have shown interest are working class.
Okay.
So it's not about unemployment.
Okay.
And it's about interest for service.
Okay.
And for those who are unemployed, volunteerism is a process of learning. It's a place where you get experience. It's a place where you learn, and aside you contributing, you are also learning. So, and that is why in volunteer service, we consider volunteering period as a working period. It should serve as a part of your working experience while getting a job. And I also told you earlier that the state government will be prioritizing people with volunteer certificate.
Sir, we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Mr. Kendi, calling from Akure.
Thank you, Mr. Kendi.
Yes, I'm just listening to your program. We are talking about the voluntary society.
A voluntary service in our society.
Okay, very good. Many good things to make voluntary about. Even when you talk about the security, even religion, and, what have you, even information organization, we have voluntary. But to what I will advise is that let us charge them to act accordingly, according to the rules and regulations. And let us encourage them in voluntary society to act based on the rules and regulations. That's my advice. Thank you.
Thank you for that beautiful advice. We appreciate you, Mr. Kende.
Thank you.
Yes, that's a caller. Do you have any reaction to what he has?
Yes, I would like to first appreciate the caller and for the caller's words of encouragement, and also I would like to say that in the volunteer service we have rules. So we have rules that guide the conduct of volunteers. So we have a disciplined system, a disciplinary system. So it should be rest assured that the volunteers are going to act according to the rules and regulation of volunteering. So
thank you, sir. And you, Haliam, I will want to hug this on the final note. What are you doing to engage the mind of the youth towards joining this stream of volunteers?
Well, I've said a lot here today, and all of what I've said is a means of encouraging our people to be part of volunteering. And on the part of government, the state government is going to prioritize and is going to prioritize volunteering in whatever thing they are doing. I mean, those who have been volunteering, whether in the course of employment, in the course of support and all of that, the government will recognize and prioritize people who have been into volunteering, and that's a way of encouraging volunteering. And also we are going to be carrying out series of programs that will be value oriented, that will motivate volunteers and will also add value to their profession or career, both now and in the nearest future. And for our volunteers, they are all going to be having, what we call a volunteer certificate, which will be useful to them anywhere they go, all over the world. So, and of course, in other countries too, they value volunteering, and they also prioritize volunteering certification.
Okay.
If you have a volunteer certificate, they'll give you preference.
Okay.
And in whatever thing whatever deal you're having with them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, it's very, very good. We've had a very beautiful time on Political Hangout today. And I told you that we've had in the studio Honorable Adeolu Iwakun, who had been our guest. He's the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Volunteer Services. And he has been able to highlight what volunteering means internationally, nationally, and specifically in Ondo State. And it's on next week when we shall be here with yet another beautiful edition of this program, Political Hangout. The producer of the program is Mujisola Oladele. I'm Olatubosun. Until next week, when I'll be here, Mr. Iwakun came along with Mr. Naga Akiri.